with us while we work through our numerous Zoom issues. Go ahead and get started with roll call. Bob DeToma.
Here.
Holly McCormick.
Here.
James Gallagher.
Gallagher here.
Lucas Remillard.
Present.
Sean McAfee.
Here.
Bill Harris. He is out picking up his son who was coming back from deployment. Luckily, just in time for the holidays. So I'm glad to see that.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody get a chance to review last meeting's minutes.
Like to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented for last month.
All right, can I get a second?
I
Second.
Okay, well, Bob DeToma,
Aye.
motion to, all right. Lucas Remillard,
Aye.
Holly McCormick,
Aye.
Sean McAfee. Aye. Jim Gallagher,
Gallagher, aye.
Justin Stone, aye. Previous meeting minutes have been approved. Sean, were you able to send off all those minutes?
Yes, they did. And
Okay.
I called the town clerk to make sure that he received them, and he said he did.
Okay,
We may be missing one from the very first meeting we ever had, so we'll have to create, I'll put that together at some point.
I sent you the ones from our first meeting, I thought, from September.
I would have to go
Okay.
back to my messages.
I saw them because it
You did?
mentioned me reading the committee charge aloud and checking to see if we had all taken oath. So I think we have them.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll check on that.
Okay, I save everything you send out. So if we're still missing them, or if you don't have them in your inbox, then I'll send them out again whenever I get back, which I'm flying back home tomorrow. So it'll be like Saturday or Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, so move on to the food drive, which Holly, I know that they asked that we wait until the beginning of the year. Well, Bob told me that, but I will turn the floor over to you.
So I'll turn the floor to Bob, but then I can follow up after. Sorry.
Okay, so Holly made 2 trips down to the TV studio and dropped off all the food. And it's stored safely in the conference room.
Okay.
I spoke to Jessica Mello, who's the president of the Grafton Food Bank. Saw her in the hallway one day and spoke to her about the food drive. She said that they were filled up for Christmas holidays, so they had an abundance of riches, and asked us to save everything until after the first of the year, because that's when they would need to replenish the stocks. She also asked us to check the expire dates on all the products before we donate them. So I suggested to Holly that that might be a good task for the scouts.
Awesome.
For an update, Scouts are very interested, but we don't have a date set. Lots of emails. We don't know right now, but for the DAV, what's our plan? Because our deadline is tomorrow. When do we want to bring stuff to the DAV?
I know I was supposed to reach out, and then that completely fell off my list.
No, I can tomorrow or next week. I just,
I've got their information right here, their contacts. So I will do this right as soon as we get off this meeting. I'm just going to make a note.
okay, because we have tons of toiletries and the food labeled for the DAV, food bank, be later on in the year or next year over.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if they could use some of that stuff now, and I'll have an answer for you by this weekend.
Okay, because I'm picking up the boxes probably tomorrow through Sunday. So Bob has most of the stuff. Bob, I have a couple boxes to bring back, but
Okay.
not as much as.
Holly, if you need a hand, I'm free tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Me too. You and I already talked.
So just out of curiosity, has anybody heard of a community fridge?
No?
Apparently there's a push, and the closest that I've been able to find is in Worcester, but you basically just set up a fridge somewhere in the town and it's all stocked by volunteers. There's no list, there's nobody monitoring it. People could just walk up and, get food out of the fridge. And it's completely, there's no like opening hours or anything like that.
Now that you've explained it, I've heard of that.
I just found out about it. Somebody mentioned it to me about a week ago. Thought it was a kind of a cool idea. I don't know if that would be something worth talking about with the food pantry. So I was just curious. It's nothing that we have to go into right now, but yeah, just something that I heard and wanted to see if anybody else know anything about it. I saw Lucas shaking his head too, so I'm assuming that you've heard about it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any questions on the food drive?
So are there any other dates we want to do the expiration check, Bob? That works for you? So I can send it to scouts?
Doesn't matter to me as long as it's it could even be on a weekend. It doesn't really matter. If you just
Yeah, what times? So
give me 48 hours notice and I can make time. It's not a big deal.
no, but like during the day or week, like I think we can do it in 1 hour. So 3 to 4, 4 to 5.
3 to 4. It's going to be more convenient for the scouts to do it later in the day, correct?
Yeah, because of school.
Yeah, okay. So 3 to 4, 4 to 5, that's fine.
All right, cool. Thanks. I'll be in touch.
Holly, do you need any of us there?
Absolutely.
All right.
Right,
So
so
once,
if you let us know when. I'm sorry, Stody.
No,
no, I
it's
was just going to say, yeah.
know when. So scouts are doing a lot of work. We sit back and relax. So
Okay. So once we get a date, we'll send it out. And then I started drafting up the email right now to go out to the DAV. Holly, Bob, I'm putting both of y'all on it. So if they respond back to us by tomorrow, that might be something as well. Bob, do you have Dan Stack's number by any chance? Or do you have any of that DAV info that we took down?
I don't have their numbers, I don't think.
I'll see if I can find it, and then I'll send it to you and Holly. And I would say if you don't hear anything back from them by lunch, because sometimes it takes them a little bit to get back to you through email. Just reach out to them and give them a call so we can see if they want the food before Christmas. Anything else for the food drive? All right, moving on to the meet and greet. Sean, I saw that the town has reached out to St. Mary's Church on the insurance policy for February. What other updates do you have?
Could I interrupt
Yeah.
before you move on? I have a DAV guy that that's been helping me work on my VA claim.
Mhm.
And, I've got an address in Gardner and a phone number. Does that do you any good?
That's the place.
Yep, that's the place.
All right, it's 3 Victory Lane.
Okay, Jim, can you email that out after the meeting?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Sean, over to you for the meet and greet info.
Okay, so as you just said, I had contacted the parish and they asked about an insurance rider to cover them in the event, evidently we have an issue with an I'm sorry, an attendee. So I got back to the town hall. They posed that question that I sent out to you folks. If we can get town insurance, and the office manager of St. Mary's is going to send me the paperwork, and I will forward that to the lady and the insurance lady. I forget the name off the top of my head. So I'll forward that to them. And she didn't seem to think it would be a big issue. On our end, we have to wait for St. James. The property manager at St. James is going to get back to me about, they're doing some renovations on St. James Hall. So if that hall would be available is the question.
Okay.
And because it may depend on what point they're at in the renovation on February 14th. I asked about St. Mary's Church, and they said that they, with their CCD classes and some other things going on, I believe Boy Scouts maybe, that may not be an option. They do have that gathering space, the foyer. We could possibly use that. But I didn't ask about St. Philip's Church, but that's, a third option. But again, I didn't think to ask that at that time. So I'm waiting to talk to, what is his name? Ron Dennis. He's the property manager for the parish. And he takes care of the 3 churches. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. And as I said, when I get the paperwork from the office manager, I'll send that out also.
Okay.
So Sean, what about Lions Field?
One more time?
Lions,
Holly, I can't hear you.
oh, sorry, Lions Field? Have a
Lions Field?
Lions, yeah. Lima, India, Oscar, November, Sierra. Lions Field. You guys familiar with that?
I'm
No?
not familiar with that.
All right, well, I will get more information because scouts use
Are you
Lions
talking about-
Field all the time.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about, are you talking about the Lions Club on Brigham Hill Road?
Yeah, Lions, oh, sorry, Lions Field, Lions Club.
Okay, all right. Well, you kind of threw me by saying field. Because this is supposed to be an indoor event.
Yeah. they
All right,
have a-
I
So-
will look into that one. Yeah, that could be another option. You're right. Okay.
Can I ask a question or make a statement? 'Cause I even had my hand up instead of just jumping in. Sean, oh geez, her name just flew right out of my head again.
John?
All right, well, the second thing was the Lions Club. Dennis Perrin is your contact there.
Yeah.
And if you want, I can give you contact information for him.
Well, Sean, the Troop 106 were joint with them. So I can send info as well because we just did Haunted Hayride between Troop 106 and them. So
Yeah.
good collaboration if we can keep that going over.
Okay, I remember the other name, Joan Shanley.
Yeah.
Joan Shanley has a Lions council or not a Lions, a veterans group that she kind of takes care of in all 3 of the churches. And if you are speaking with her, she may be able to deal with all 3 of those locations and let you know what's available and what would be needed and things like that.
Okay.
All right, if you want, I can send you her information.
Okay. Yes. I was told that she is trying to get the veterans outreach group that the parish has had. I guess it kind of maybe fell to the wayside for a little bit, but she's bringing that back to life.
Jim, you said Joan, correct? The air conditioner kicked on right behind my head when you said the name. So,
Of Shanley, it's, yeah, Joan.
so Holly and I have been going back and forth with her on email. I actually tried to invite her to this meeting, but she had another meeting scheduled. So we'll invite her to one of our future meetings in the new year to sit down and talk about the Veterans Outreach Program and how we can tie in with them.
She's great. She truly is.
Yeah, she seems really nice from the little bit of interaction I've had with her.
She's not as nice as Bob Ditoma, but I mean, who is?
Right. You should see him at the gym, though. He's always yelling at me.
Oh, geez.
As far as funding, Sean, goes for the meet and greet, so Evan told me that the line item for our funding has been put in. It just wouldn't take effect until like July timeframe, when the new books or when the fiscal year starts. With that said, he said if there's anything that we need to let him know, and he can see if he can work some funding for us. So when we get closer to that time, if we decide that, we're gonna want some drinks, and I told him it'd be minor stuff like drinks and stuff like that. I think if we can reach out to Pepperoni, I just forgot it, Pepperoni Express, and see if they're willing to donate some pizzas, we could do that, and then we'll just supply drinks and maybe chips or something like that. Any other questions for the meet and greet?
So
Yeah, Sean.
before Justin Souza left, he had also mentioned, possibly purchasing stuff through his office. I don't know if that would be too much to put on the interim guy at this time or not, but it might be another option if we wanted to go there.
Honestly, I'm still a little confused on if he actually has taken over yet.
Okay.
So according to Evan, Brian is filling in while they search, but he hasn't reached out to me or anything like that. So I'll make a note to reach out to him whenever I get back. And see if we can get him going in. Yep.
There was the other pizza shop, the guy that does the portable thing.
Anzios.
Angios, right. Yeah. Okay.
And if you have something, just jump in, because I don't have my big screen thing. I'm working off my laptop, so I can't see everybody's face at the same time. All right, if there are no other questions, then we'll jump into the financial services for veterans. So Dan is one of the local veterans that reached back out to us after we sent out our intro letters, and he had offered up his financial services. If there was any questions or anything like that we had. So I asked him to come here today. This is just an introduction, and just to see, Dan, from your standpoint, any thoughts that you have on your services and anything that we can do as a committee to help out veterans locally. So with that, I'd just like to turn it over to you for you to introduce yourself. So Dan, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Good to be with you and speak with you tonight. I hope my audio is coming through loud and clear for you.
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's good to be with you. I received your announcement letter of your committee's formation and the accompanying census. I guess it was a month or two back. And as a resident here in town and a veteran myself, retired now, gosh, just over 10 years. It was nice to receive that. Any activities that the local communities are doing to reach out to our retired service members and discharged service members, I think is great. So I felt somewhat duty bound, you might say, to not only respond to your census, but at least make mention of some of the things that my team and I are involved with. And if any of those activities resonate with your committee, and if there's something that we can do to support your activities, I'm certainly glad to unpack that and explore it some more. So I've been retired from the Coast Guard for about 10 years now, and have been working as a financial advisor with the Marlborough office of Prudential. So I guess that would be the first nexus to financial services with the military that I would offer up. Those of us that served had this little thing on our LES called SGLI, and some of us may have VGLI, but when you unpack and look under the hood of your SGLI and VGLI, that's actually a Prudential product. So that's the first nexus that my broker dealer, this big insurance company known as Prudential, has with the military and has had for decades. I am not an SGLI or VGLI expert. It's not my department. I'm a wealth manager and financial advisor. SGLI is handled by our corporate folks down in Newark, New Jersey, but I'm certainly familiar with it. But that's the first connection that Prudential, my office, has had with the military for a long, long time. And the second is that the Prudential Advisors organization, there's roughly about 3,000 of us nationwide, has a longstanding relationship with the Department of Veterans Affairs to provide educational outreach. For those that may subscribe to the weekly VA newsletter that comes out on Wednesday afternoon, you may often see advertised in that newsletter different seminars of all sorts of different flavors, one of them being usually a monthly financial seminar of all sorts of different topics. Those are produced live. Some of them are actually on site at some locations, but in today's world, most of them are virtual, but they're produced live, and they're hosted by folks like myself, Prudential financial advisors that are active in the business, providing educational topics on a whole array of different financial topics, starting from the basics of saving and investing and budgeting, all the way up to complex tax and estate matters and everything in between. So those are the two connections that Prudential has had with the military for quite some time. So when I retired out of the service and became a financial advisor, obviously I recognize those connections, and my team and I work with 3 or 4 other financial advisors here in Marlborough, and we've done quite a bit of outreach with the local New England military communities, both active, retired, and so forth. For example, we've done quite a bit of work with the pre- and post-deployment Yellow Ribbon program for the Guard and Reserve. We've done a lot of military retirement activities. We've done some work with our friends over at Veterans Inc. in Worcester. We've done a lot of work with the folks out at Westover, Hanscom, and so forth. So while Prudential is not the only financial organization that has affiliations with the military, we've got a pretty long-standing history. So if your committee would feel that there is a cohort here in the Grafton area that would benefit from any of the services that I've just mentioned, particularly the live webinars that are done regularly, sponsored through the VA, or if there were something that my team could do here locally, more intimately, you might say, on a local grassroots level, I'd be happy to explore that further. And in the spirit of full disclosure, none of what I've described is solicitous in any regard. We're all licensed professional financial advisors. We provide a whole host of financial products and services, but our goal, particularly with the educational outreach to the military veterans, is purely educational in nature, and to support some of the experiences and products that they've had when they were in active duty, or if they've left the service and they're participating in the blended retirement system or the TSP still, or they've taken over VGLI and those sorts of things. So it's purely an educational outreach activity. We have had folks that have approached us separately from our educational activities and engaged us in other business activities, but our programs are completely non-solicitous. So I'll stop there. Again, by just pure way of introduction, I'm local here in Grafton, and if there is something that I can do to help participate and support your activities, I'm happy to do so.
Sean?
These webinars that you're referring to, so are they archived or cataloged in a way, if someone missed one, they could possibly, look at the Prudential site or the VA site and get it?
Yeah, Sean, I wish I could tell you that they were. We operate in the most regulated industry on the planet. I thought 25 years of the military was a highly regulated, rules-based organization until I got involved in finance. And for compliance reasons, we do not record or archive our educational seminars. We typically operate such that we deliver something that's of interest to the audience. When we do them with the VA, they're national. Usually once a month or twice a month, there's something. They typically happen on a Wednesday, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, to accommodate different time zones. And the VA, actually their transitions office, picks several topics that are advertised ahead of time, and they solicit through their mailing list. Some of us are probably on them. I know I am. And you'll find guys like me providing these educational topics that usually last about an hour with a little bit of time for Q&A. But they are not archived where you could watch a replay of me talking about budgeting or investments. There are lots of online tools, however, that if you miss a seminar, you miss an educational event, there's so much material available online that certainly could be made available to the service member.
Okay.
Do you have, is that like spread out over a website, Dan, that information, or is there like a veterans section in your website that they could go to and they can see that information?
So that's a good question. I think that there is, and I will endeavor to get that for you. You're going to find it very, the educational materials, some of them are veteran specific and some of them aren't. I'll be honest, my experience is that much of the challenges that the recently discharged or retired service member faces are not too dissimilar to their civilian counterparts. And, we call it a TSP in the military, but it operates just like a 401k. You've got group insurance. If you work for a big corporation, we just call it SGLI. There's some differences in taxation with service members that are still on active duty or in the reserves. They've got their own IRS publication for service members, for crying out loud. But a lot of the materials you'll find in the educational section of our Prudential website are germane to just about everybody. But I'll endeavor to get some links for you and can forward that along. You'll also find in there a library, and I can forward along a separate document that shows a library of all the different educational seminars. Prudential's been around for 140 years, so we've created a pretty vast library of educational topics where you tell me what you want your audience to learn about when it comes to finance. We go to the shelf, we pull it off, we add a talking head like me, and off we go. And the VA has done that with us now for years.
That's great. And the reason why we're interested in these archived information is, so we are new, just sent out the intro letter, still trying to gather information from the local veterans, who all is out there, because we didn't, you get back some letters. I think we were up to like 30 or 32 letters returned out of the 750 that we sent out. So we don't have a good pulse on what veterans need from the town of Grafton. So we're actually developing a website that I believe, Bob, did the town swap over to the new? Okay. So we're waiting for the town to swap over to a new internet provider before we put all the information out there. And it's basically a one-stop shop. You can go there and you can find links for job searching, financial information, local veteran focused charities and things like that. So just having this information and being able to have people go out and go, okay, I don't really know what I'm looking for, but here are the links that we hope that that'll jar some stuff loose, and then people will start coming towards us.
Yeah, I would tell you that, again, having been retired for a decade now, I can't believe I'm saying that. One of the things I've noticed, I grew up in the military in the 80s, and a lot of the senior officers I worked for, used to grouse and complain about the way they were treated, coming up in their careers in the military. And my observation has been, thanks to, the work that you're doing locally on the grassroots level, there's never been a better time if you're being discharged from the service, there has never been a better time to have an abundance of resources available to you, particularly in financial education, financial services. I mean, you can't turn the TV on at night without finding an advertisement about some veterans organization that's willing to help.
Right.
So I think what you're doing is fantastic. If I can support that, I'm ready, willing, and able, and standing by for tasking. I would say that I can offer up lots of literature and connections to websites and archive materials as best I can. There's nothing like having somebody that you can talk to.
Yes.
If you're a veteran, you're recently discharged service member, you've done a couple tours in the sandbox and you've gotten out, and you've got this thing called a TSP, and you've got this thing called the blended retirement system, and you want to go use your GI Bill and you want to start a business. That's not an untypical scenario of a young soldier, sailor, or airman that I come across that just needs a little guidance. And quite often they find it very helpful to be able to talk to somebody that speaks their language, that uses the same jargon. They know what it's like when I say PCS, they know what they're talking about. So having that ability, if that's something my team and I can provide, they're not all veterans, but they do. I'm starting to get them to know their ranks and rates as best I can. But there's a team of us that have worked with the local veteran community quite a bit, and the active and reserve as well. As I said, like, we've done a lot of work with the deploying reservists. So
No, that's perfect. And that's really what we're looking for. When we came together, we were talking earlier about our first meeting minutes. And the big discussion that we had during that was, what veterans do we target? Because you look at some of these organizations and they don't do it purposefully, but they target certain age groups or certain veterans of certain wars. And we're trying our best to target everyone. So you want to make sure that we're supporting our older veterans, but also focusing in on those transitioning veterans. And I just got out a couple of years ago. And the biggest thing that I noticed was there are a lot of organizations out there, but how do you know which ones, and there's not a list that they give you when you leave to go, hey, these are the people that you should contact. These are where they're going to help you. So we're doing our best to try to do that so we can maybe grow. And I would say, as of right now, the biggest help that we need, the biggest push that we need is, if you meet other veterans from Grafton, or if you know other veterans from Grafton, push them our way. Have them fill out that letter that they received, and they can just drop it off at the VA rep's office. So then we can at least get some information, and we're going to start in the new year, start sending out more information to them and trying to be more active with that population.
I applaud what you're doing. I think it's fantastic. Like I said,
Thank you.
I can't, I started 35 years ago, and in the last 5 or 10 years has really shown me that our culture and our community has come full circle on the manner in which we support the veteran, and it's really, really great to see. And it starts at your grassroots level. So if I can support that, that's great.
I
Glad to do it.
appreciate it. Does anybody have anything else for Dan? All right. Well, and Dan, you and I, we'll definitely stay in touch. I'll work with you to get these links, and I'll work with you to see if you're okay with me putting your information out on our website for the financial questions and stuff. My plan is pretty much got all the links and everything built. It's just putting it onto the website. So try to finalize all of those details between now and the new year, and then in January I'd like to put it out. So
Glad to help. I'll gather up some materials and get that over to your email address, and please don't hesitate to stay in touch.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, that was all that I had for the agenda. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to bring up? So, Jim, I think we're going to start. I want to start sending out the meeting minutes like you suggested during our last meeting, and I also want to. I think it would be beneficial if we moved forward with a newsletter. You know, maybe it's quarterly, maybe it's every 6 months. But I think in January, if we're going to go live with this information on our website, that'd be a perfect time. And if I can confirm Brian's information as he is filling in, I think that there's actually quite a bit of information available that we can send out in January. So I don't know if anybody wants to take on putting together a newsletter. If not, we can just work together. You know, Microsoft Word's pretty easy with putting them together like that. But Sean?
I like the idea of sending the minutes out to the folks that have responded to us.
Mhm.
I kind of think that in itself will start to grow, because we would like to assume that the folks that we're sending them to are going to talk about it, and maybe talk about it with other veterans that they know in the area, and let it I'm almost saying maybe we try that and see how that like percolates a little bit and
Okay.
spreads out, and we shoot the newsletter type message for, I don't know, I'd give the minutes thing a few months to percolate, and maybe June or so we work towards that as a send off date for a newsletter. And
Okay.
like I said, for a couple of reasons, let's see what response we get from the minutes going out, and also give us a chance to, we don't want to necessarily reinvent the wheel, but we can mimic something to the effect of, I hate to, like, for example, the Senior Gazette. Every town has a Senior Gazette, you know, so maybe use that as not a model, but, and then there's another one, Shalane, the lady's last name is Shalane. She sends out a monthly email with links to all various posts, whatever post or whatever sends her information, she adds it to this email. I think her first name is Beth. I'll make sure on that one. But again, so if that would be another option, take our minutes, or not so necessarily our minutes, but take whatever things we're putting in the works, send it to her, and that would help get the word out. For example, like our meet and greet thing, it goes to the region, and I know we're trying to focus on Grafton. However, you want to get bodies in the door, and also just in general, just help the community overall. So
Yeah. Okay.
You know what might be a good idea, Stoney, is that if we redesign the form report that the minutes are on, and like have after the meeting adjourned thing, put in for further information about the Veterans Advisory Committee, go to this website or contact, give them some kind of a lead for our Facebook or whatever, but just to have contact information on the bottom of the minutes that we do normally, and just have that as a regular part of our minutes.
Okay, I like that idea. I like both those ideas. And Sean, I understand that. That's why I was hesitant last year or last meeting with the newsletter. But there will be a lot of information that I foresee us needing to push out in January.
Okay.
But if we do it with the minutes, and we can also just add that information in the email that we send out, we can update the local newspapers, use those options that are already there. So we're not overworking ourselves, and we can focus on the things that really matter that we've already got in the works. So,
Okay.
Perfect. Anything else?
Bob DeToma's hand is up.
So I was thinking about the information that we collected with the local veterans, and do we have a spreadsheet or a Word document that has all of the emails?
I do.
Okay. So my thought was, in addition to sending them a newsletter, perhaps we could send a link to each of these recorded meetings where they reside on the Grafton Television YouTube account.
Okay, I like that idea.
So there might be a particular topic on the minutes. And if we put the address, the link to find where those videos reside, they could search out that particular meeting and actually see what it was. Sometimes the context of a written set of minutes is different from the way, someone views it.
Yeah.
But it might be useful. It might even generate interest as to, perhaps adding on to the strength of this committee. So yeah, if we take that list and we can send out that link.
Okay. Oh, Bob, the other thing I wanted to ask you, did Justin come by and do the PACT Act video?
Yeah. It was pretty brief.
Oh, what a surprise.
So
James.
I'm wondering if we might be able to just recreate it in studio. And
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I have the flyers that, or the informational sheets that he dropped off. So we might be able to do something a little bit more extensive if we get our heads together when you return.
All right.
So, but when you get back or after the first of the year, we can get together and come up with a plan.
Okay. Yeah. And who knows, maybe we can rope Brian into it, the guy that's going to be filling in. So, all right. That's all I have. Does anybody have last reattacks, save rounds?
I'll be
Sure.
brief. The letters that we got back, by any chance, do we know if it's someone that does not use the internet? For example, an older person that maybe doesn't know how to go to YouTube/Veterans Advisory Committee to watch a video. Would that person or those people need a hard copy?
I had one person tell me that they did not have an email address.
Okay.
Everyone else did have an email, but no one else identified themselves as, I don't use the internet.
Okay.
Now it wouldn't be too hard because of the limited number of people that we have, to just simply send out you know, hey, here's our contact information. Please let us know if you prefer, you know, letters or something like that. I just, until we have funding, I'm just kind of leery on, you know, that's going to be us coming out of pocket to send out minutes. And it's only a couple of stamps, right? But I don't want to put that out there and then it become a trend until we can have the town cover it through funding items.
Okay.
Line items. So, but Sean, I do think that is a valid point. Anything else? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Can I get a second? All right. Bob Tatoma, motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Lucas Remillard,
Aye.
Sean.
Aye.
Holly,
Aye.
Jim,
Gallagher, aye.
Justin, I. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much. And Dan, thank you again for attending. And I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.